Good day out there to all my listeners. I'd like to welcome you to Is Your Way in Your Way podcast. And I'm your host, Cassandra Crawley Mayo. And this podcast are for my listeners who are ready. I mean, really, really ready to move forward, want to overcome those obstacles, even those limiting beliefs, or better yet, let's call them self imposed barriers that is preventing you from living your best life. And we talk about topics related to business and personal development and self improvement. And today I am so excited about this topic. I don't know about you all, but when I hear the word love, I'm like, oh, wow, this is going to be good. And the title is called Unleash the Power of Love. And who better yet to talk about it is my guest today, and her name is Kim Sorrelle. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you so much, Cassandra. It is so wonderful to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, and my listeners, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to read Kim's bio, and then we're going to take a deep dive into what this unleashing the power of love is all about. And I'm hopeful that near the end of the podcast that you'll be energized just listening to what she sees as the meaning of love, and where that came from, and why she's even qualified to talk about that. Because we always hear that love is an action word. That's all that I hear about love is an action word, and it can be pretty complex. Unconditional love, agape love, is just so many different types of love. So Kim Sorrelle is the director of a humanitarian organization. She's a popular speaker and the author of two books. Her first book, Cry Until You Laugh, and that's about her and her husband's battle with cancer after being diagnosed just 4 months apart. Her second book, Love Is, an Amazon bestseller. It chronicles her year-long quest to figure out the true meaning of love. This sometimes funny, sometimes scary, always enlightening journey led to life-changing discoveries found mostly on the streets of Haiti. Again, welcome, Kim. And even though I've read that bio, I would like my audience to hear just a little more about yourself. Just give us a little bit about your backstory.
Sure. Yeah. Well, so I started my first business when I was 18.
Mhm.
So I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, or my whole adult life, I guess. And I have 5 kids and 11 grandkids, and
Wow.
I speak and I write and I just do what people do in life. And I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and 4 months later, my husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and he passed away 6 weeks after that.
Mhm.
And that's what led me to go on this eat, pray, love kind of journey to
Mhm.
discover the true meaning of love.
Wow, wow. That's incredible. And I'm sorry to hear about your husband. And I want to know, and the reason I want to know, because we all go through trials and tribulations, and that the fortitude and the tenacity you had after not only you having cancer, but your husband and passing away. Where did you get your strength from? I mean, what kept you going?
Well, I'll tell you, I have faith. I have faith that God is there. I have
Mhm.
faith that there's a heaven, a better place when we die,
Okay.
and that so my husband went to a better place. Like, so my faith really held me together a lot,
Mhm.
I would say.
That's good. And I ask that too because of the trials and tribulation one goes through. And sometimes it just stops them in their tracks and they can't move forward. So I just wanted my listeners to hear how and what enabled you to move forward. So that's why I asked that question.
I Yeah, I can give you kind of another answer too. So besides my faith, which is, cornerstone, right?
Mhm.
Uh, I decided that I was going to have a different attitude. There's things that you have no control over in life, like cancer. You'd never wish it on anybody. You don't want to have it. You don't want anybody to have it,
Yeah.
but it comes,
Yeah.
but you don't pick it. But
Yes.
what you can choose is how much happiness you want in your life. How much joy do you want? How do you want to face each day? And
Mm-hmm.
I I think that that was something that really helped me out, was knowing that I was in control of that.
Mm.
I can pick to live in joy.
Okay. Okay, that's good. So you made that decision, and
Hmm.
that's what it takes, making that decision. Wow. Now, my other question, this is one that what is the true meaning of love? What is the true meaning?
Such a good question, Cassandra. You started out by talking that there's different kinds of love and whatever, but really overarching it all, and there is a simple answer to what
Mm,
love is. And we think of it like as an emotion or as a feeling. You fall in love, you fall out of love, whatever words we use and terms we use. But really, like, if you watch a scary movie and you
mm,
go to bed that night, you
yeah.
hear every bump and bang and creak, and you're still afraid, right? All night
Yeah.
long, but the next night's better, and so on. Well, that's an emotion. Fear is an emotion.
Mhm.
Love is not an emotion. Love is who you are. Love
Mm,
is all encompassing. Love is not something that ever leaves you, ever. Like, happiness might come and go. Other things that are emotions come and go, but
mhm,
love does not come and go. Love
mm,
is who you are. How you decide to live love is up to you.
okay. So my next question is, what qualifies you to be an expert in love?
Well, I'll tell you, I took this 2,000-year-old poem, you touched on it already, and decided that I was going to take one word or phrase at a time. Love is patient, love is kind, does not
Mm,
envy, does not boast. We hear it at a lot of weddings, so our eyes kind of glaze over because we hear it so much. But I took one word or phrase a month to figure out, well, what is love that is patient? What is love that is kind? And it blew my mind, the things that I found out. And I'll tell you, it took me every single day of the entire month. It's like I looked for it and looked for it and looked for it. And then something would happen at the end of the month that would just kind of hit me over the head. And I'd go, now I get it. Now I finally get it.
mhm,
And so there are 14 words and phrases in that
mm,
poem. So it actually took me 14 months, a little bit longer than a year. And I just found out things that I don't think people know. And
mm,
I think we're taught some things about love that aren't love, and we do things in the name of love that really are not love.
mhm,
And in knowing what love really is,
mhm,
it just changes, is a game changer.
mhm. So when you went through the 14, I'm call it characteristics, was one of them really difficult to grasp as you did your research? And if so, which one was that?
Yes. Yeah. It's love keeps no record of wrongs,
Mm,
because we might forgive people, but you don't forget the things that happened to you.
mhm,
Right.
mhm.
So, how do you not keep a record of wrong? I was kind of dreading that month, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the way I found out about what it is I was asked by these gentlemen to show them a water project in Haiti. And so I went and to where they were, we all went out into the countryside. There were 8 men from the United States and 2 of my Haitian friends who both happened to be men, and me. And
Mm,
that was our group. And so we got to where we were staying, and there were just 2 rooms, and each
yeah.
room had 4 twin size beds. And so I thought, well, we brought a couple cots, we brought an air mattress, we'll move things around. Haiti's hot. You only go in there to sleep, no
Yeah.
big deal. So the head of the men from the US called me aside. Kim, can I talk to you? I'm like, sure. And he said, did you see the rooms? And
Mhm.
I'm thinking, buddy, there's nothing else to see. That's all there is. And then
Right.
I thought, oh, he's going to think I want my own room. So
Oh,
I'll say, well, it's okay. I'll sleep outside. And he'll
oh,
say, no, no, no. If anyone should sleep inside, it should be you. And I'll
right,
say, well, I don't care if there's other people in the room. And he'll
right.
say, good, there's only so
Yeah.
much space. So I said, well, it's okay. I'll sleep outside. And he said, "Oh, good, good.
Oh my
Because we
God.
have men on our trip that would not be happy with a woman in their room."
Okay.
I don't know what he thought would happen in
Yeah.
a room full of people, but whatever. And at first I was shocked, and then I thought, well, I said I would do it, so I had to figure it out. So there was a piece of plywood held up by some pieces of wood, and I thought, well, if I put the air mattress underneath that, at least I won't get wet if it rains.
Mm-hmm.
But Cassandra, there are scary things in Haiti. There are tarantulas, and there are snakes, and there are chupacabras or whatever is lurking in the bushes of Haiti. So I was so afraid to sleep outside.
Oh my
So
God.
first night I went to bed, and my air mattress held air for about an hour, and then I'm on gravel, and it was super loud because dogs were barking and horns were honking. Finally, that died down, maybe 1 a.m. Then, like 2 a.m., voodoo drums started in the
Oh
distance,
my
and
goodness.
that went on for a while. And then maybe 5, I'm not sure of the time, but like 5 o'clock, I was finally able to get some sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first night came and went, no problem. Second night, same thing. I'm on gravel, the dogs, the horns, the voodoo drums. Finally, I'm asleep. But I woke up because there was something on my leg.
Oh my goodness.
And I was thinking, oh my word, does Haiti even have the anti-venom to whatever it is that's about
Right.
to bite me? Can I get airlifted to Miami in time to save my leg? What's going to happen? So I slowly lifted my head and I slowly opened my eyes, and it was a chicken. There
Oh,
was a dang chicken on my leg.
oh,
And I didn't know whether to be mad because it woke me up from the little bit of sleep I was getting,
yeah.
or happy that it wasn't something so much worse. So third night came and went, no problem. Fourth night, same thing. I'm on gravel, the horns, the dogs, the voodoo drums. Finally, I'm asleep. And again, I woke up because there was something on my leg.
Oh no.
So again, I was so afraid. And I slowly lifted my head and slowly opened my eyes. And again, it was the dang chicken. And so I shooed it away. I didn't know, again, whether to be mad or happy. But that night, we actually had chicken for dinner.
Oh,
So the fifth night came and went with no incident. And I'll tell you, uh, it was intense. It was
yeah.
intense. 5 nights
Oh yeah.
outside with all these critters and things, and anything can happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, so at first I was a little bitter. I was thinking, really, I was being treated as less than them,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not as worthy to be able to sleep inside. And that kinda ticked me off because 'cause I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking, nobody's less than anybody else. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
still a human being.
Yeah.
And I thought, gosh, would my sons treat a woman like that? They better never treat anybody like that.
Right.
And
Uh-huh.
so at first I was mad. And then I thought, well, 2 things. One is bitterness only hurts me.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, they don't even know I'm mad because
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one that offered to sleep outside.
Right. Exactly.
And yeah, right? And then finally, it dawned on me, love keeps no record of wrongs. So
Mm.
yes, we don't forget the things that happen,
Mm-hmm.
but we we change the narrative. The narrative is up to us. So instead of looking at it as these rotten men that did this rotten thing to me, now it's just kind of a funny story, and I could literally sleep anywhere in the world and be perfectly fine.
Oh my
So
goodness.
so that's what it is it's just changing the narrative because we get to pick it. We
Mm-hmm.
get to choose, like if 2 guys are in a traffic jam and one of them's honking his horn and yelling and screaming and
Right.
so mad and blood pressure rising and whatever, well, in the car next door in the same traffic jam, in the same issue,
Right.
relaxes, says, "Oh my gosh, Cassandra's got this great podcast. I'll just turn this on and chill. I can't do
Yeah.
anything about it." And so same story, different stories,
Yeah.
right? Same situation with different stories because we get to pick it.
Wow.
So that's
That's
what that's what
great.
it is.
Great story. So while you were in Haiti, you had already started this 14 characteristics of love. So do you remember which one you were on while you were on Haiti? Was it love is patient, love is kind, no
Well,
jealousy?
I started it in Haiti. I
Oh,
was in Haiti.
okay.
Yes, and so Love is Patient was the first
Okay.
one.
Right. Okay. So you
And if I
definitely
would have
Go ahead.
Sorry to if I would have only done that 1 month, it would have been worth it to me. Like I was doing this whether it became a book or anything else or not. I needed to do this for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so but every month was so profound. But the first month, I'm like, oh my word. What I found out about love that is patient blew my mind. And that alone changes lives, I think.
Yeah. Now, okay. So there was love that is patient, love that is kind, not jealous. So how did you do your research? I mean, okay. So you focused on patience, right? For how long did you focus on each one again? A month.
Oh my.
So, so what types? Take us through the research you did because I think this could be healing for a lot of people that are listening. Like, it's one that maybe they're struggling with. And it does say does not forgive, and it also talks about if you have any gift, if you have anything and you don't have love, then that doesn't mean anything. If you gave to the poor but you don't have love, that means nothing. you know um so could you take us through how you went through, just take one, and the patience, maybe the kind, not jealous. How did you go about, what was the methodology for you to get a deeper understanding of each one?
Well, I can start from the very beginning. I just, whatever, it was the beginning of the month, and I thought, okay, this is it. I'm
Hmm.
dedicated to this. And
Hmm.
so all month long, I was just aware, no matter where I was, what I was doing, I was just aware. And
Okay.
I was just looking for it. And it was on my mind. Love is patient, love is patient, love is patient. And I just kept looking for it. And
Mm.
then at the end of the month, I had this a crazy situation trying to get a container of medical supplies out of the port in Port-au-Prince. And there was
Mhm.
just this
Okay.
bunch of stuff that happened. And that's when I figured out love that is patient, when I
Okay.
finally figured it out. But that's what I did is um, I just thought about it all the time. It was on my mind all the time.
Wow, that's awesome. Right. So it was awareness, and you just
Mhm.
focused on that one at a time. Now you talked about there were five truths that one has never taught about love. What are those five truths that we're never taught?
Yeah, well, one of them is that love is who you are.
Mm,
That's one of them. Yeah, I think most people are taught that love is an emotion or just a feeling, and
mm,
and it isn't. It's all encompassing. It's you don't hang it up when you get to work, or home to take it off and throw in the laundry. It
mhm,
is it is you. It is who you are. Another one is that love is up to you.
mhm,
So and only up to you. So we
mhm.
often hear love's a two-way street,
Yes,
and it's not.
it's
It's a
not.
one-way street. You have no control over anybody else. And so if you're giving love, expecting love in return, you're just going to set yourself up for heartache and loneliness because first of all, you might not get love back,
Mhm,
but secondly, you might not give love back the way you expect it to come back to you.
mhm,
So
mhm,
love is something you give only because you are only in control of yourself. So
mm.
love is something that you give. So
Okay.
it's what you live, it's what you give. Love is so much. So love is present.
Mhm,
Love is present. So like with love that is patient, that's when I learned this is that love is fully engaged. Love recognizes that this moment is the most important moment of your life. What's
mm,
in the past is in the past, and what's in the future is yet to come. This is the most important moment.
mhm,
And so, if you recognize that, realize that, believe that to be true, then you need to be fully engaged with who you're with.
mhm,
And I thought, Cassandra, I could multitask a conversation. I could be listening and hear everything. And at the same time, think about a meeting I had later, what I needed to get from the grocery store,
right,
something that happened yesterday, right? I don't know
right,
if anybody else ever does that,
I
but my mind would wander.
Mm-hmm.
And when I practice, this took me a lot of practice. And when I practiced it, my life changed, man, because when you're fully engaged, then you hear the actual words that somebody's saying
Mm-hmm.
and not something that you think they're going to say based on some label you put on them, because love doesn't have any labels.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually hear the words and it's a whole different conversation.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. You know, I have a question for you, and it's out of Mark 12 in the Bible, 30:31, and it talks about the commandments, the greatest commandment. But I want to read the second commandment in that scripture. It says, "You shall love your neighbor as yourself." If one doesn't love themselves, can they give love?
You know, I think you need to love yourself to truly love other people.
Mm-hmm.
You might feel like you're loving other people, but if you are not loving yourself,
Mm-hmm.
then how do you know what love is to
Mm-hmm.
be able to love somebody else?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think of it as like there's nobody that's ever been like you. There never will be anybody like you.
Mm-hmm.
You are one of a kind, created in God's image. You are one of a kind. There is nobody like you.
Mm-hmm.
You're here because you're here, because God created you to be here in this moment. And so I think about like the Mona Lisa, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
treasure if it ever went up for auction. Who knows how many millions and millions of
Right.
dollars, Elon Musk or somebody would pay for it, right?
Right.
And it's because it's a one of a kind masterpiece. And so are
Mm-hmm.
you. You are a one of a kind masterpiece. There's nobody like you.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to embrace who we are. We
Mm-hmm.
need to embrace that. And we need to like who we're looking at in the mirror. And
Mm-hmm.
if there's some reason you're not,
Yeah.
uh, figure out why you're not.
Yeah.
And magazines kind of set us up for failure in that area with when it comes to external things, when
Yeah.
we look at ourselves and go, oh my gosh, I need to lose 10 pounds or whatever.
Yeah.
But none of that stuff matters because it's who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And who you are is not on the outside. Who
Mm-hmm.
you are is on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And love that person. Love
Mm.
who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have to be intentional,
Yes.
would you say? Yeah.
I I would say yes. Yeah. I think we're probably born a certain way. We're probably born with the ability to love ourselves and just give pure love to other people. But then we're told things, right? Oh, you can't do that. Don't touch that. Oh, you'll never be that. No, don't go into that. You're not smart enough to do this. We're told things by parents, teachers, whoever,
Mm-hmm.
peers even, that
Mm-hmm.
we're not as good, that we
Mm-hmm.
can't do things, that there's something wrong with us, that we're not living up to somebody else's standard.
Right.
And so it kind of beats it out of us. It beats that pure love that we're born with out of us. And you got to recapture it and realize that things that people say to you, man, I mean, they can stick with you, right? Like when
Yeah.
I was a freshman in high school,
Yeah.
you had to wear a dress on game days and it was basketball season. And I was new to the school, first game, first time I'm wearing a dress to school. And I'm standing at my locker, and this boy walks over to me and he says, "Those are the ugliest legs I've ever
Oh
seen."
my goodness.
And I went, "Oh my, yeah, that's what I was, oh my gosh, I was already self-conscious." But I will never forget that,
Yeah.
but again, changing the narrative, now I just kind of laugh at it
Yeah.
because, what a weird thing to do and strange thing to say. And so anyway, words stick with us. Words stick
Mm-hmm.
with us.
Mm-hmm.
And so let the words go because yes, you are capable. And yes, you are worthy. And yes, we are all walking on the same ground.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is higher than anybody else, no matter their position, no
Exactly.
matter their culture, no matter their gender, no matter anything.
Right.
There is none greater than another. We
Right.
are all equal and we're all special.
Right.
And so get rid of the
Yeah.
limiting beliefs. I love the way you say it. Uh, the limiting beliefs. How do you
Right.
say it again?
I said,
Self-imposed.
yes, limiting belief, or better yet, self-imposed barriers that prevent you from living your best life. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I've never heard it put that way, but I love that
Mhm.
terminology
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it means more,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
So, with this podcast being "Is Your Way in Your Way?" and a lot of us are in their way because of self-sabotage, imposter syndrome, perfectionist. It got to be so perfect. Um, I've worked so hard. I'm just so burnt out. My thoughts are all messed up, and those limiting beliefs. I'm not good enough. So, would you say if people love themselves and really thought about that and become aware of the word love, um, do you think that will help them overcome a lot of obstacles that they have that's preventing them from living their best life? And if
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I do. I totally do. When you understand what love really is
Mhm.
and then realize that it is a command
Mhm.
for us to love ourselves and
Mhm.
love everybody else.
Mhm.
Everybody else. And sometimes we say, well, yeah, I love everybody, but
Right.
those darn Republicans or those darn Democrats, well, then you don't love everybody.
Mm.
Take away the labels you put on yourself.
Mhm.
Take those labels away. You are Cassandra. I am Kim. That's
Mhm.
good enough. That's
Mhm.
good enough. There might be clubs that we're a part of or cultures we're a part of or something else. But when it comes down to to the nitty gritty, we are Cassandra and Kim.
Mhm.
And and so all the other labels, the labels that people try to put on you or you put on yourself,
Mhm. Mhm.
just take those away because love has no labels.
Right, right. So in the book of, is it First Corinthians 13 is the love chapter. So what my audience or my listeners could do was kind of read that, and they list love is kind, love you don't boast, you're not jealous. So if they could think of those things as they're going through life, or they decided that this is what they want to do in order to live their best life, then they could focus on those, be intentional about what kind means, even be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, because a lot of us aren't patient, has no jealousy. No need to be jealous of anybody else because you are wonderfully made. You're just crafted and into the image of God. So if that's the case, then what I mean is just kind of be intentional on what it's saying in First Corinthians 13, because it talks about you have faith, hope, and love, but love is the greatest of all of those. So I guess I'm saying that for my listeners to start thinking about love, love yourself, love others. Look at those words and apply them to yourself, because you talked about in spreading love, um, your life became different,
Mhm.
right? So so when you are giving love away and loving, you feel different, is that right? Like when you're spreading love, how can one spread love? By doing
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there's so many ways, but I think a lot of it comes down to really understanding love. And, there's always holidays coming up somewhere,
Mhm.
and holidays are coming up and you're going to be in positions or some people are in positions where they're like, man, I really want to go to that family gathering, but man, that brother-in-law drives me crazy. And he brings something up again, or whatever.
Mhm.
And there are tensions that we can have with people.
Mhm.
And we're not all going to be best friends,
Right.
but but you don't have to like everybody.
Right.
Like is different than love, but we are told to love everybody.
Right.
So if your approach then to people is knowing that as they give you grace to be the person you are,
Mm.
you extend that same grace to them and allow them to be the person they are.
Mm-hmm.
And the person they are has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. You
Right.
know, when you have a baby, you bring the baby home from the hospital and you have total control. You control
Yes.
when they bathe, when they eat, right? Everything.
Right.
And then 6, 7, 8 months later, all your pots and pans are all over the kitchen floor. Tupperware is everywhere. You realize you've lost control. And I promise you, you will never get it back again. You
Right.
only control yourself,
Yeah.
right?
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So your attitude towards somebody, or if they say something that bothers you, you can walk away.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to engage or
Mm-hmm.
say something like, "Oh gosh, I really want to go talk to somebody else," or because you want to get out of that situation.
Right.
But you don't have to get angry or upset by words that come from other people because you don't control those words. You control if you decide to receive those words or not
Right.
and how you receive those words.
Right. So you're responsible for yourself, not for others, unless it's a child, like you mentioned. Yeah. Kim, in the next, I would say about 3 to 5 years, what would you like to have accomplished and succeeded in the next 3 to 5 years? Like, what's your desired destination with what you do?
I would love for people to understand love
Mm-hmm.
because it truly it is love that would change the world. And if
Mm-hmm.
everybody lived love the way love actually is
Mm-hmm.
and realized that everybody is valuable,
Mm-hmm.
everybody is. And so you treat people with love. You treat people with kindness. And you treat yourself, as you mentioned, with love and kindness. When you do that, your life changes. Your life changes, right? Because
Yes.
it's easy to be in the grocery store sometimes and somebody knocks into you and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so mad. Why do they have to push my cart, or whatever?" Well, change the attitude. Like
Yeah.
it is up to you how you receive whatever it is that's happening.
Right.
And I'll tell you, the happiest, the very best way to live is to just love everybody.
Mm.
Recognize they're special.
Mm-hmm.
They're one of a kind. And
Mm-hmm.
and recognize that and just love everybody. And
Mm-hmm.
don't have enemies. Don't have people that you cut out of love, that you
Mm-hmm.
take your love away.
Yeah.
Even when people harm you, you can still love them
Mm-hmm.
without liking them, like we said. So,
Mm-hmm.
you might not like their behavior,
Yeah.
you don't like what they're doing, you don't like what they're saying, but you can still love them.
Yeah. And that can be difficult, but like you said, you have to be intentional, you have to be aware. And if you want to live a life, a fulfilling life, then that's the way to go, because you're proof that, as your day moves on and everything, and you just decide that regardless, I'm going to love. Yeah, I'm going to love. Now, Kim, can you guide my listeners on how you would get them to guide them to be a happier, more fulfilling life? Like, how would you do that? Like, the message you'd like to leave with them, and you've probably said it, but I want you to talk directly to my listeners. Because this is all about getting in your way of accomplishing what you want to accomplish. And a lot of it are the lenses we wear, like you said, how we grew up, what our experiences are. And it can be tough. But, when I think about all that you've been through, and you just made that decision that you were going to focus on the love chapter, and you were going to go through all those characteristics. And I don't know them all, but you said they were like 14 of them. uh,
Mhm.
um, How would you go about guiding one of my listeners to be happy and have a more fulfilling life?
Well, I would say one of the biggest things is to give yourself grace.
Hmm.
We're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to do things that we're not proud of. Things are going to happen along the way because it's life. Things happen and it's life. But don't dwell on it. It's in the past, and
Hmm.
give yourself grace to change. Because I think so many people, like at my age, I'm 62,
Hmm.
and when you're 62,
Hmm.
you pretty much think, well, this is who I am. This
Yeah.
is how I am. This is what I believe. This is how
Hmm.
I act.
Yeah.
And uh, it might not all be you. You might want to be different than what you are. And
Yes.
that's okay. That's okay. You might freak some people out
Mhm.
when you go to the next, tea with everybody or whatever. You might really freak them out like, "Oh my gosh, why is she being so nice?
Yeah.
Like why is she glowing like that? Like what
Yeah.
is going on?"
Yeah.
And but in time, people will see that you just made a shift to love
Right.
everybody.
Right. I want what she has. Something's going
Mhm.
on. It's kind of like the song "What the World Needs Now is Love, Sweet Love," not
Yeah.
just for some, but for everyone. And then we can pivot that and say what Tina Turner said is what love had to do with it, based on experiences that she had, which was a bestseller. But that's but what so when you say there is freedom in love, what does that mean when there's more freedom in love?
Well, it is the ultimate freedom when
Mm-hmm.
you just love. When you
Mm-hmm.
just love, it is the ultimate freedom because you're free to be who you believe you're created to be.
Okay.
You give yourself that freedom because you love yourself. And at the same time, you let everybody else be who they believe they're created to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're not judging.
Mm-hmm.
You're not looking for things to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing the opposite. You're
Yeah.
recognizing people as a fellow human being to
Mm-hmm.
be loved.
Right.
And you're recognizing yourself. You're
Mm-hmm.
coming out of wherever you are into this new freedom to be who completely and totally
Right.
who you believe you're created to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow, Kim, this is great. So I just want to tell my listeners, if you want to shift in life or you're not real comfortable where you are right now, try love. Go ahead and open the book of Corinthians, First Corinthians 13, and read that chapter and focus on those characteristics of what love is not. Um, and I believe too that it can change you. It could even help my listeners to get out of their way in certain things. And I love it when you say, give yourself grace. Um, God gives us grace. His grace and mercy is sufficient. So why not give yourself grace? So I just want to thank you for your time. I know my listeners got something out of this, and I challenge them to focus on the love. Um, if I look at your aura, Kim, you are just a beacon of light, and the beacon comes from the love. You can just see it all over you. And maybe my listeners say, "Oh, you can see it because she's on a podcast," but not really. I mean, you can kind of be a good judge of character, when you meet people and when you see people.
Mhm. I believe that to be true, which is why I adore you because uh, just hearing your stuff, I
Mhm.
know that you're a woman of integrity. You're a woman who is so wise and is so giving, helping other people. Like your podcast is fantastic. Everybody should have it at the top of their podcast list. It's
Thank
it's
you.
so good.
Thank you.
And there is something you can tell.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can tell,
yeah.
right?
And my listeners, I didn't pay her to say that, just so you know. But I would like to wrap this podcast up. And my listeners, you know that I'm on every Wednesday live at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And whenever my fur baby barks, I don't ignore him. I want people to know that I have a fur baby. And whenever I have a podcast, he gets upset because he wants to be in the room listening. So, anyways, please share this podcast with your friends or with individuals you think that this will make a difference in their lives. So, bye for now. Thank you, Kim. God bless my listeners, and I'll see you next week.